Okay, got it.
There we
There
go.
we are.
Hello, good afternoon from snowy Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, snowy but sunny. Thank goodness.
Thank
Okay.
goodness we can see the sun. Today we're going to talk a bit about cabin fever. That was your idea.
Yeah, it was mine.
I like it.
Yeah.
Why did you want to talk about that?
Well, I think that this is the time of year when a lot of people get stuck in a little bit of the mundane and they start to feel like they are in a bit of a rut. And that then has a very big impact on relationships, and especially when you are in a partnership, whether married or not, how that impacts your coupleship.
And I'm going to interrupt this program with a message from our sponsor to say that we are streaming on YouTube right now because the framing is better on YouTube than on Instagram. So just so you have that awareness if you're watching us live. But feel free to join us on whatever platform works for you. So yeah, it's about the rut, to return to the rut.
It is a rut.
And we don't love the rut, and we know that there are many things that influence it. Did you mention the pandemic while I was thinking about framing? Do you want to do that?
Yeah. One of the things is that I think because the pandemic was such an extreme version of cabin fever, where we were really stuck in our homes for the most part, that a lot of times I think we downplay in the present day when we are feeling a little, sort of shut in or a little down, for lack of a better word, is that we really, we really can look back at the pandemic and say, well, nothing's as bad as that. Well, yes, but that still means that we are having some of the same feelings and having some of the same circumstances that we had during that period of time. And it's not just in people in the winter weather, in Canada or certain parts of the United States and other parts of the world, but it can be just very poor weather. It can also be just simply the fact that we are in, sort of a bit of a lull period in terms of what we can do activity-wise if we don't really try and invigorate ourselves to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like you said. I just want to show you what we're being told from our media manager, is that here is our Instagram.
Wow.
And that's how we're looking. And this is YouTube. So if, when one of us is talking, if you're talking, if you're
like
more
this,
here, and then
we
we'll go
can
like
go
this.
like that.
Maybe that would be better. I'm not sure, but we are clearly experiencing some technical difficulties today. So whoever's talking will try to move into the frame.
Sure.
And then we'll figure this out for the next time. So we were talking about how it shows up, this idea of cabin fever and how it shows up for people in their relationship. And it's about this kind of low energy or flatness. And I think in some ways, I was thinking about this, kind of mimics depression.
Yeah.
Like, why are you in such a low mood?
Right.
And then what can happen in our relationship is we can move to that critical stance, like, what's wrong with you, instead of what we really want to engender, which is compassion. Right. Yeah. And so if one or the other of us is having more low mood or less energy or less excitement, how can we invite each other? And I think it has to start in the relational space to be more energized, like to regain some energy, because this is a hard time of year and it is a long winter.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So small infusions of aliveness can be very, very important to a relationship. Here I am. So yeah, I think it's really an important thing for people to realize that, finding warmth or color or nature or beauty in any form is really what becomes extremely important. And, and something out of the ordinary, things that are sort of not the normal mundane things that might happen during your regular day, but things that are just out of the ordinary. So trying to actually not make it just on one day in the weekend or whatever, is trying to find those moments during each day to try and make change.
I think that the other thing to pay attention to is, if we think about the relational space. You're pulling me in. This is great. This is like a metaphor for relational space, right? Like, how can we share the space between? So I think the other thing to pay attention to is the differences in us and how to invite one another into exploring something that might help us to feel both seen, known, recognized at a deeper level. I mean, that works for me.
Yes.
I'm not sure you need that as much as I do, but I really thrive when there's a moment where, for example, and one of the things we teach in our workshops and our retreats is flooding.
Right.
A way so that your partner knows that you really see them and get them and know them.
Right.
Because what we want to do is spark some of those good endorphins, the dopamine, some of the good love drugs again, which will move us out for sure of anything that we might otherwise call the doldrums.
So it goes beyond simply appreciations, just showing your appreciation or gratefulness for your partner, but actually, really doing things, activities or behaviors that show that you really get what really is meaningful for your partner. And that is something that can really spark not only your relationship, but also those good drugs that really make us feel better during this period of time.
And you'll know when you feel the good drugs. I realize we could push this a bit further back, and that will get us more in the screen.
Right.
You know that you'll be feeling the good drugs because there he is. Hi, baby. You'll be feeling the good love drugs because you'll get one of the ones that we really like is oxytocin. The cuddle hormone. And when you're feeling it because you feel that you're drawn towards one another instead of repulsed or pushing away from one another. And we want couples to create opportunities where the magnetic pull is towards and not against.
Right.
And so that will look different for different couples. And it isn't that the extrovert or the introvert needs or wants more or different. It's fine to recognize your different needs as different kinds of social creatures.
Right.
It is about sparking connection that meets you both where you need to be met.
Right. And a lot of times when we are feeling like, we start to feel like the world is closing in on us, or that we are feeling that sense of, man, it's cold outside, or gosh, it's raining, or whatever, is that we sort of, many of us internalize that and sort of try to protect ourselves against it. And one of the things that we can learn is that we have people around us that can really help us with that, especially our partner. If we can interact with another human being, and especially our partner, then it really is helpful to our internal self. And it is something to realize. So activities are really, really important. Being able to get out of your, sort of your internal world is an extremely important thing.
Kind of think you're talking about hibernating.
Yeah.
I think that's the word that came into my head, is that we tend to, we know lots of people who are very engaged with the world during these times, they're very active.
Right.
But we also know that many of us can get into kind of a habit of locking down. Like, I'm going to do the same thing day after day. I'm going to eat comfort foods, and I'm going to just recluse.
Right.
And one of the things to do is to accept invitations.
Right.
And then, to do something different.
Yeah. And, that first initial step to try and do that can actually take a little more energy. But instead of turning away from those things, actually embracing them is really quite
I think that's really fair. There's an energy that's required to step over the threshold into something new. And if you can use your partnership to kind of nudge each other. So today I asked if you wanted to go cross country skiing. It has simply been too cold for me to imagine doing that.
Mhm.
But today is very, very sunny. And I think even a half hour or 45 minutes of skiing will energize us.
Mhm.
And I saw what I thought was hesitation. And I
Mhm.
realized afterwards was simply you processing that idea.
Mhm.
And then you were absolutely, let's make that happen.
Right.
And sometimes we just need that invitation to that hand held
Mhm.
to step over into some new land.
Well, and I think in real time, you were seeing me sort of going, well, it's easier not to go, but then recognizing that it's more important to go.
Yeah, and that we'll feel so much better on the other side and more connected.
And more connected.
Although recently when we went skiing, we did lose sight of each other for a while, so we did have a "Where's Tim" moment, but we found each other in the woods again.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, so we want to invite you to try some new things, to spark some good love drugs, watch some comedy instead of the same show you're stuck in. We get very attached to certain shows when we're in that kind of narrative, in that place.
Right.
Watch something that gives you a belly laugh. Do something a little different. Put on some music.
Yeah. I do want to mention one more thing, though.
You go for it.
And that is putting some goals out there or outcomes out there that you want to actually achieve in the future can also provide you with some willingness to hope and be aware of that something is coming your way in a little while. For example, for us, we have a retreat that we have planned for Portugal in April. And with these long winters that we are now having, it's nice to have that as something that we are going to be able to go to in a few months. And, you know, in some respects, we need that carrot out there. We all need a carrot.
We all need a carrot.
To actually see what is going to be available to us.
And I love that. I love that. I am very much looking forward to our retreat in Portugal. And we're going to talk about that a bit more after our live. But I do want to say that for other people, it might be just a personal goal. So I have people I know, clients, who are either walking or running, you know, and then they have a plan. We want to do a half marathon, or, you know, that's the kind of thing, like something that we can build towards. And it doesn't have to be something that is a big investment, but it can be. But it's also just knowing that you have something to look forward to.
Something to be out there.
Including longer, sunnier days to come.
Very true.
So working towards more positivity, more connection in the space between, more intentionality, and making sure that you mirror, because you might not know what your partner really is saying or what they mean. And without mirroring them, we will miss each other's meaning for sure. More often than not. We still are working on it all the time.
We are, very much so.
All right. Thank you for joining us for this live. And we're going to be doing more in the near future. We're looking forward to more connection.
Have a wonderful, enjoyable, active, happy day.